DNS. What is it? Have you ever wondered what exactly happens when you put youtube.com in your web browser? Do our thoughts travel the internet, or is there some internet genie just granting you any video you need? In a nutshell, how does the internet know where is youtube.com? Let's take you, for example. This is you. You want to visit, let's say, some.com. This is called a domain name. Now you might be wondering, what's a domain name? To understand that, let's understand what an IP address is. IP stands for Internet Protocol. Machines on the internet talk to each other via IP addresses since they only know, numbers. For example, an IP address looks like this. It's just a bunch of numbers. Now let's dive a bit back in the history of the internet. Back when the internet was just in its nascent stages, it used to be referred to as the ARPANET. It was just a few computers across a few universities connected via leased telephone lines. Yes, telephone lines. So, computers were set up, they talked to each other by sending information on these lines, that's it. That was all the internet was. As the internet grew slowly, IP addresses were invented alongside a bunch of different things. Anyway, back to domain names. As the ARPANET grew from 2 computers talking to each other, then to 40, it kept getting more difficult knowing which IP address belonged to which machine. So if someone wanted an image from computer 3, they had to remember the IP address of computer 3. Isn't this hard? That's where the need for giving these random weird numbers a cute name came to be. But wouldn't giving domain names to IP address also involve a lot of record maintenance? Exactly, which is where the DNS, i.e. the domain name system, was established. Consider DNS as a very big phone book. What does a phone book have? Name and a phone number? DNS phone book has a domain name and its IP address. But DNS is not just one phone book. This is where the magic starts. There are multiple DNS phone books spread across the world. Each phone book is some geography of the world. Let's call them zones. Zones have domain names in them, but there's a catch. Each such zone is owned and maintained by some entity. It can be a government, it can be an org, company, startup, anything. But there's more to the magic. You see this domain geohotstar.com? It's actually made up of a few subdomains. If you see carefully, one is geohotstar, the other is .com, and both of them are owned and maintained by 2 different entities distributed across the world. Yes, one domain's information is distributed across and stored across the world. This way each area in the world owns some part of the same phone book. Now let's go over the journey of a typical DNS request. Let's take geohotstar.com, which is actually 2 subdomains owned and maintained in 2 different areas of the world as we saw earlier. Let's say this is the image which you want to fetch from geohotstar.com server. When you type geohotstar.com in your web browser, a DNS resolver takes this DNS request and reaches out to the entity that owns the .com domain. This owner fetches us the owner for the next subdomain, which is geohotstar. Then we reach out to the owner of geohotstar domain, which will give us the IP address for the server of this domain. So at the end of our DNS request, we end up with the IP address of the full domain. So now we can fetch that image from the server because we know the IP. So that's DNS for you. This is my first YouTube video, so if you liked it, please let me know in the comment section. Also, thank you for watching till the end. We didn't go into too many details such as name servers, SOA record, tree-like structure of DNS, etc. But do let me know what you want to learn next, and we can go into as much technical details as you want because learning is fun actually.